Howdy, lieutenants and economists.
The most volatile, evil, disgusting things on the planet, humans. If you have a video request, you can always go to assholeconsulting.com.
Yeah, I am gonna charge you, kids. And that is the importance of not fucking up.
You are such an asshole!
Hey, asshole. I'm the asshole, by the way. He's referring to me. I'm the asshole. I have several jobs in the following years with psychotic managers in a lot of companies. I can't really say anything because HR doesn't care and never reports it. Suing is somewhat out of the question because legal fees almost makes it not worth the initial investment. Could you explain, in your opinion, why managers feel it is right to abuse and berate their employees to the point where they just want to pick up and leave on the spot? It seems as if every office place is similar to going to a state prison where you don't know when and where you'll get shanked. Could you also provide tips and tricks of surviving these motherfucking serial killers of employees so that the employee can survive to build his/her wealth and leave on his or her own terms? Okay, so a couple things here. Why is it seems, I was on Engineered Truth, we're talking about this, and he says only 1 out of 12 bosses I've had didn't have his head up his ass. And he thought, he didn't think it was bad luck, but he realized that this is the nature, this is what it's like. Most employers are assholes. And the reason why is because they can be. They are very much in the position of young, attractive women. There is more demand for jobs than there are jobs to go around, and it's always been that way. And since they have what everybody else wants, they can become not only very picky and finicky, but they can be abusive. And it's a very dark default human setting where, like, if you have all the power, what does 11 out of 12 bosses do? They become manipulative, sadistic, controlling, totalitarian fucks. Again, another reason to become a misanthrope. I mean, it's a scary testament to just how evil and despicable humans are. If you got all the power, and I say, well, you know, we'll take Joe. He's got the highest GPA and the most qualifications, and we'll go. No, that's not enough. You need him to fucking kiss the ring and suck your dick and kiss your ass. And well, you need. I don't know. Did you go to diversity training? You know, the numbers of flair in office space. So it is like a lopsided dating market where you have a handful of few hot chicks, like the handful of chicks in North Dakota in the Bakken oil field. That's what it's like. So they can become very persnickety, they become very picky, they become royal pains, and they become special little snowflakes. And I think a lot of these people, most people's lives suck, so this is the one thing, like if these, imagine what these assholes, imagine how many dicks they had to suck, and how many asses they had to kiss to get to the position of manager or regional director. Oh, they're going to get their pound of flesh on you. They're not going to say, you know, it's pretty wrong how all my previous bosses treated me, but I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna bring in no. It is a dark realm of human psychology, and why humans are just, you want to fuck them over, they're not worth it. So so that's why. Okay, that's just it is. It's economics. There's more demand for the number of supply of jobs, and they got it, and they're just treating you like shit because they can, and it's fun. It's sadistic. They get a fucking fix off of it. They're sick fucking people. Could you also provide some tips and tricks on surviving these motherfucking things? All right, first thing, do not go into debt, okay? Be a minimalist. The only reason the vast majority of people are so stressed is because they need that job. They do. I don't think it's conscious, but corporations are perfectly fine with every, they're going to sell you the goods, but they also want you to go into debt buying these goods because it may not be you, but their employees, some of their employees, or the company down the road's employees, are all going to be desperate to make that check. They gotta pay those credit card bills. They gotta pay for the McMansion. They gotta pay to make the car payment. They gotta buy wifey some fucking shit. And so that makes you their slaves, and they can fucking own you. Okay? If you have no debt or you are a minimalist, you can get by on a part-time job. You really can. Doesn't have to pay a lot. Could be a security guard job. Could be something low level. You pull a fucking Lester Burnham from the movie American Beauty, and you just go work your low responsibility, the least amount of responsibility ever job. So you flip your burgers, you do whatever you want. So that's the number one thing. Another thing, check out mentally. I know a lot of people, I can't just say the younger generations, it was my generation as well. We were led to believe that when we went to college, this was important because then we'd be using these advanced techniques and analytical tools and all that other stuff. And then you get in there and you find out that it's just an entry-level job that you could have done in the 8th grade. You're like, what the fuck? Why didn't? That's all jobs. So you mentally check out. Don't worry about the injustice. Don't worry about how you're not doing what you were told you were going to be doing. Don't worry about whether your boss is a dick. Try to truly just go in and say, whatever happens today, it's the same hours that I'd have to spend, whether the job was rewarding or not. And I still would not get these hours back. I am here for the paycheck. And I mastered this in about 2005 when I worked over at a credit union. Where here I am, I'm the senior analyst, and they couldn't keep up with me, so I ended up like doing filing, faxing, and scanning. I was doing fucking secretary. You know what? I didn't care. Put in my headphones, and then I went to work. Because whether I was there 8 hours doing the level of work that I was trained and hired to do, or 8 hours of sitting there scanning in documents, jerking off to the fucking files, it didn't matter. I let it go, and it was one of the more. It wasn't rewarding, but it's not going to be. It never will be. So try and get that zen. Start working on your escape plan. Your next part-time job is when you get home is to start your own company. Now what that is, I don't know. But you're only going to be truly intellectually rewarded as an entrepreneur. I mean, every great once in a while there's somebody that gets lucky and actually finds a job in the corporate world that's intellectually rewarding. But that's such a minority that your chances are higher going and starting your own business. So you start working on plan B, man. Or you get like a side gig so that if your boss ever gets lippy or truly abusive, you can say, fuck you, get the fuck out of here. And you wait for them to fire you. Like you get them to fire you. You can't go and say fuck you because then you wouldn't collect unemployment. But you want to get a qualified unemployment. You want to be qualified for unemployment after you get fired. So go ahead and look at the research that on the internet. Find your state. Don't come in there and hit your boss. You won't collect unemployment. Yeah, that. Major or study a field where you're in more demand than your boss. My IT buddies, my surgeon friends, all one of them, they don't answer to anyone. I mean, they have a boss, but it's like, oh, yeah, you're my boss, aren't you? It's cute. Shut the fuck up. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. So these IT people, they tell their bosses what's going to happen. And their bosses really, I mean, they're not assholes about it either. But when you're paid $300 an hour and you're in charge of the entire network security of your company, you're kind of important. And so then your bosses get a little less abusive, which once again shows you how cowardly they are. Oh, if you're our bitch, we're going to treat you like shit. But if we need you, by gosh, we're actually going to treat you like a respectable human being. So another thing, find jobs where your boss is not around, like the security shifts during the third shift. That is awesome. When your boss is not there, those are the type of jobs you want. And they're not going to be terribly high paying, but I don't know why bosses are around. Really, it's like, do your fucking job, here's your fucking job, and it'll get done. And I don't need to see you. I remember I got a job one time telling anybody, he's like, what's your ideal type of boss? I said, someone I don't see. Just you give me my job. If I got a question, I'll ask you, but otherwise I don't see you. You get out of my way and I get the work done. And you're not there over my neck asking me how's it going every 5 minutes. So there's that. Then finally, if you're in a job, these are all preventative measures, but like let's say you're in a job, you got to realize again, this is like you're dealing with women. And so what I say, not only because you'll walk with pride, you'll get fired, you'll ruin your resume, it'll be an uphill battle for the next decade, but at least you'll have told your boss off. You really got to treat them like the women that they're acting like. So whereas common sense would say if you want to date the hot girl in the North Dakota Bakken oil field, you treat her nice. Say, fuck you, sugar tits. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to buy you a fucking drink. I'm going to buy me a drink for myself, and you can buy me a drink. That kind of in your face. So now how does that translate into the real world, whatever, the working world? Well, if your boss gives you any shit, I mean, like, truly, like, say, oh, I need you to say no. Just say no. Be polite about it. Say, no, I'm not going to do that. Well, what do you mean? And they'll be shocked, like, no, my job was to do this, and I only work 40 hours a week, and frankly, that wasn't part of the job description, so I'm not going to do it. And they'll be shocked. I mean, don't get angry. Just say, no, I'm not going to do it. And then, well, I'll fire you. And here's the other thing. Like with women, you say, okay, cool. There's the door. Except you're talking to yourself for there's there. Say, okay, fine, fire me. Like, don't fear taking unemployment. Don't fear going on welfare. Just say, no, that wasn't part of the deal. I will come in here and do the job I was hired to do. Yeah, you don't pay me enough to do that, and no, I'm not going to do it. Or your boss, gets you in an argument, or not an argument, gets you into a meeting, and you just raise your hand like, why am I here? I'm like, well, I'm serious, I have work to do. This meeting is pointless, and nothing's getting done here, so can you let me go? Because I'm not going to sit here and waste the company or the shareholders' money anymore. So stuff, just balls to the wall, ballsy, and you have to do it like, I don't need you. I don't need your vag, I don't need your job. That's basically what you're doing. And, going over their head, hey, go to your boss's boss. Hey, boss's boss, yeah, this ain't working, I want to know, is that okay with you? Are you on the same team with this boss? Because if the corruption goes all the way to the top, I just wanted to know if there was any hope that this would get remedied. But if not, that's all right. I'll just, mail it in, and I'll do my half-assed job like everybody's doing here. Just this truly Office Space, watch the movie Office Space, just, you don't care. You try and get fired. And as long as you're willing to go on welfare or collect unemployment, you don't worry about the mark on your resume, it is amazing how you don't get fired. But they might actually promote, or they'll make big grandiose changes. Just like a woman, when you don't kiss her ass, all of a sudden she's really nice to you, and you're like, no. That you want to talk about a word that turns a girl on, it's the word no. No. Nah. Meh. Just a little handshake. No. No, thank you. Not that your boss will go, but he or she might. But you got to be willing to get fired, and this is where, again, it helps to have a minimalistic budget. You don't really need the money. You have a gig on the side, and then you can you can bluff. That's all you're doing. You're just going, and you're having self-respect. No, I'm not going to the meeting. No, I'm not going to diversity training. No, I'm really not. If you want to fire me over diversity training, you can go ahead. I'll collect a government check, and you guys can pay extra taxes. But I'm going to do my job. I'm going to get my work done that I was originally hired to do, and I'm not going to do all that other stuff that has nothing to do with my job. And also then not treating any kind of guff with them. This is also, when a boss gets in your face, you want to embarrass him or her in front of other people. It's you go into there, and be theatrics. Do it at a meeting. This is one thing I wish I did, was embarrass my boss and me, put together. I always want to call a meeting and then rip my boss a new one and show everybody what a fucking incompetent douchebag he or she was. But what you can also do is go, when, people are around, go in, open his door, slam it, grab the phone out of it, slam it down, and then get right in that fucker's face. And you will get fired. Security will escort you out, but that motherfucker will think twice about ever fucking not somebody. I wish more millennials and Gen Xers did this to scare the piss out of baby boomer and Gen X bosses, because now my generation is coming online. But you'll go down as a hero, and that fucker will have lost all face and credibility in front of everybody there. And not to mention, forget reason and rationalizing with upper management or the higher ups. A shit show like that is going to make it all the way to the top, and they're going to say, hey, Bob, come in here. Why did Aaron give you read you the riot act and make you piss your pants? What the fuck happened there? And then they're on the spot. So they might even call you and say, hey, we know we fired you, but could you tell us what's going on? You say, no, you're going to pay me $25,000 as a consulting fee because you got problems that are way worse than the 25 grand. So go fuck yourself. So yeah, really, you want to get women? Treat them like shit. You want your employers to back off? They may not date you, just like a woman won't date you if you treat her like shit, but your chances are higher if they're psychotic and abusive. So anyway, that's all I got. I hope that helps. It's a problem everybody has, but yeah, the permanent solution is self-employment. That's the only way to do it, dude. It's the only way. Or you're just such a ball buster that you get your little fiefdom and people fuck off and know not to fuck with you. If you're a lesbian black female, maybe you can do that because racism. But yeah, otherwise, it just feels so much better. I know it ruins your career, but it's so much better. I wish, knowing now, of course I can say this because I'm not starving anymore, but it would just been so much better to get in their face and rip them a fucking new one. And if more people did that, these baby boomer fucks would think twice before putting a false job description or a lying job description out there. So, and we hope that helps. Toodles.